What problems are troubling you? What's frustrating you, bothering you, worrying you? Want solutions? Want answers? Welcome to Here We Come to Save the Day, hosted by David Adelson. This podcast is dedicated to solving everyday and global problems in an uplifting, fun, enjoyable way. There is a solution to whatever's troubling you. Ask your questions, and we'll do our best to give you practical, useful, workable solutions you can use starting today. Join us now with David's special guest experts who will share their own experiences, life lessons, and practical strategies for creating the life you long for. Start living your best life today, right now, with David Adelson and friends.
So welcome to another episode of Here We Come to Save the Day. I am so grateful and delighted to have with us today Debbi Dachinger. And the problem we're going to be solving is removing that big question mark in everybody's mind about what is going on. And welcome, Debbi.
David, thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you finally.
And we're just going to talk about a whole bunch of things. There's a lot of things happening in our personal lives and in the world right now, and people are noticing changes. We're going to talk about Debbi's hair, which is probably what we're going to start with. But let me tell you a little bit about Debbi. Debbi Dachinger is a media personality who has been interviewed on over 1,000 media outlets. So I know how busy she is, our scheduling thing. I'm just so grateful that she's here. She is a syndicated award-winning podcast host, nominated for 2 People's Choice Podcast Award, interviews celebrities on the red carpet, a keynote speaker, a certified coach, and the author of 3 international best-selling books, and a new one that's about to be a best-selling book on dogs, which we'll talk about too, I'm sure. As a media authority, Debbi coaches people on how to write a page-turner book, runs a company that guarantees your book becomes an international bestseller, and teaches the ultimate visibility formula, how to be interviewed on radio and podcast shows. Welcome. Thank you so much. So what's going on?
Everything is going on right now on the planet, and in people, there's a complete restructuring. I mean, first of all, we've all been talking, David, you and I are in the same tribe, and so let's just go there. We've been talking for many years about being up-leveled, different dimensions, what's happening to our luminous being, to the Taurus field that we're in, and more, that there's a lot happening. And we've been watching with astrology and numerology and all these going on. And so people, I just want to say this because this is sort of hilarious that I'm talking like this, because I'm known out in the world for specifically visibility, just like David said, for coaching books, for being a podcaster and all of that, teaching you how to be interviewed. But this is my inside life. And I was very much on the trajectory before and exactly when this whole coronavirus hit, of really moving into my own particular healing arts. And so I came out of the spiritual closet 13 years ago when I started my podcast, and I didn't even know. I just thought, oh, this is something I do for a hobby. Oh, this feels really good. I didn't realize it was the biggest value in my life. So that's why I'm speaking like this, because this is literally what I feel why I'm here, but I also feel like God, source, universe uses me with visibility. Because I think if you're going to be a shaman, if you're going to be a light bearer in the world, you need visibility. You need to be able to write books. You need to be able to get a message out there. So what is going on is a complete restructuring of our beings and the planet. And I feel like specifically Mother Earth, who's been so genteel and has allowed so much to happen without nary a word, is flipping her hair right now and saying, not really on my watch anymore. I think there's going to be some changes, and I think we might learn that you who have runneth over meeth so much without a care, that's really not going to keep happening on my watch, because we won't all be here. And I think politically, there's enormous upheaval, and as far as how we treat each other and interdimensionally, and what is possible going forward. So as much as this looks like a scary time about what's going on, and I have great compassion because I'm experiencing it too, this is also a profound time of new choices and possibilities going forward. And I think that's why a big piece of why we've had to be separated, to start creating new practices, to start looking inward, to start releasing things, and to start making all new choices
Yes.
when we come out of this.
Yeah, no, I completely concur. And what's very interesting, and I want to take pieces of that. One of the things that I want to do, because again, we're solving people's problems. I know a lot of people listening have had, just as you had 13 years ago, you're about visibility, but you're also, there's a part of you, was it okay to be that visible about those things at that time? And one of the things that I would like to address now is, yeah, whoever you are who's listening to this, you now have permission to fully present whatever your deepest, brightest secrets are about how you view the world, about who you are, to let that light shine that you've been keeping hidden in the closet for fear of whatever. Now is the time that the world, the energies of the world will support the seed of who you are to blossom into a huge light source for the good of the world. I know a lot of people, I know growing up, that a lot of us felt that we couldn't say what we needed to say without literally risk of being stuck in a hospital or prison or some such thing. But that time has passed, and there's a couple countries that you might be a little cautious about. There's one on the east coast of Africa, and I don't know what it is. There's something near Brazil, but I don't know that it's in Brazil. But pretty much everywhere else, you're completely free to go. Now, this is important because those of us, you mentioned how this is a scary time. I have to say, when it hit, I was just so relieved. I was just like, oh, this is how it's going to happen. This is a huge resetting. And what I'd like to do now is talk about your hair, because we were talking about this a couple of minutes ago, and you asked a question, and I thought that would be a great place to go. So go ahead and ask your question.
I talk about resetting. Perfect segue, David, because something is going on with my hair. So I'm like everybody else, nothing's been done. You could tell my hair is really long. So since this has been, I think the last time I had my hair done was February, easily. So no color, no cut, nothing. And as it grows out, I can tell it's just going to get more wavy and wavy and wavy, because I had, just for people who know, I had a keratin treatment, which is a nourishing straightening treatment for wavy curly hair. I had it way back in January. So here we are 4 months later, almost 5, it's coming out, right? So the curls will start coming, that's fine. But I never had curly hair, and I have a completely restructuring happening of my hair that has never gone on in my head before. I'm quite loving it and inviting it to go. But I was asking David, like, how does that happen? I have a huge curl going right here at my part. If y'all can see this, and hopefully you're looking at video, and if not, check us out. This is all new. And if I could turn my head, well, if I could show you my back, you'd know the universe has it. And if I could show you the back of my head, which I'm not going to do, but I will tell you that starting right at the crown of my head, going down behind in the back of my head toward the nape, there is this ridge happening of waves. This is all brand new. And I know pregnant sometimes, she comes out the other side and her hormones completely change everything. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but brand new hair, curls, wave going on. And my question was, what's going on? Why is that?
Good. So, and thank you for asking that. This is one of the reasons I'm excited to be talking to you, because I know we can just say things that some people would think would be outrageous, and they're part of your dialogue. They're part of who you are. When we talk about the changes that are, so historically, and I'm just going to get a little out there for a minute. Historically, when a world reaches the state that we were at, I want to say about 40 years ago, basically humanity gets, or the species that's kind of off kilter gets wiped out through natural means, whether those natural means are war or whether earthquakes or tidal waves or tsunamis or whatever. And the original expectation of this planet was that when all that was over, and this was supposed to happen just before the year 2000, a couple of years before that, around that time, the end result would be about 600,000 people would have survived. And the earth would have been completely clear and it would have moved into a new age, whatever we call it, which is one of the things that's shifting, whether we call it the age of Aquarius or whatever you, Sat Yuga, whatever, heaven on earth, whatever you want to call it. The original thing was going to be that. And a whole bunch of beings got together. We might call them light beings or angels or just well-wishers of creation, great devotees to the divine, whatever aspect of the divine. And they said, how about we don't do that here? How about a whole bunch of us go down and let's see if we can bring the whole planet with everybody in it without massive loss of life. Can we bring them all into this new age smoothly and comfortably with minimal damage? And that's been going on since actually the 1940s. Some of the Yogananda and some of the other people, again, we were having a discussion about my blanking on names this morning from having been up all night. There were other teachers from other cultures who were going around the world and bringing up more enlightening ideas. We know about Gandhi, who wasn't particularly spiritual, but who was bringing the idea of certain ideas about how you treat people. So there have been a lot of changes that have been going on over that time, and that whole thing was averted. And now what's going on is the same rebirth that would have taken place had everybody left, except we're here and we're part of it, which means everything we know is changing. Mm-hmm. So our DNA is changing, the way we think is changing, what we consider important is changing. People, I know one of the big things, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, is how people think about and what's important to them has changed since they've been locked down. Suddenly, the job that I hated, and I've been going to for 40 years, 20 years, 10 years, or whatever, I'm starting to realize that maybe that's not what I want to be doing every day. Do I really believe that I need some of the things that I was told I need? You know, the influence of commercials. Well, it used to be we'd run out and buy stuff as soon as we saw, you know, the X number of commercials, and now people can't go out and do it, and they find that, wait, I don't feel bad that I don't have the new Chevy or Mitsubishi or whatever. So, Debbie, what's been your experience in terms of what you've noticed change, aside from your hair? What have you noticed about how you think about things? Are you freer in who you want to be? Are you noticing that? And I know you've always been very clear in who you are anyway, but are you noticing that some of the shackles are disappearing? Or what are you noticing that's going on as you're spending more time by yourself here or with the family or whatever?
Well, I mean, for me to be alone is a really big deal. So I'll go all over the board here. First of all, I've had immense loneliness. And so I've had to face that demon inside of myself. That's actually been a core wound of mine since I'm a child. And I'm also a connector and an extrovert. So for me to be this disconnected, if you will, has brought up a lot. On the one hand, enormous grieving. I mean, I've spent some days crying 3 times a day. And you know what's beautiful about that, David, is I've actually been quite disconnected from my tears for a long time. For somebody as sensitive as I am, it's amazing how disconnected I've been And I am not right now at all. There's been a lot of loss for me besides the consumerism and the going out and the workshops and all of that. You know, three of my, we all just basically have a core of besties, right? If you have best friends, chances are it's one, maybe four people. Outside of that, it becomes other circles, right? But literally, out of my four best friends, three of them have moved out of state, out of country, out of county. And the other one still lives a good hour and a half away. So it's like that, plus a breakup of a relationship right before, plus my mom has Alzheimer's and she's quarantined. And it's just been this enormous loss, some of the job pieces. And so I've really had to be with, here's the truth, you don't have to do anything, but I have chosen, because if it is here, it is perfect. If it is here, it is because the universe is giving me this profound and deeply uncomfortable opportunity to heal, to deal, to feel. And so that's exactly what I'm doing, is I'm letting everything just be. Like a friend of mine reached out and said, Debbie, this too shall pass. And it's like, that's awesome. But you know what? That's not where I'm at. That's actually even the future. I am in today. The other thing is,
I just want to, because one of the big things that's happening is people are being empowered within themselves. And it sounds to me like you're just, I'm not big on struggle, but effectively you're jumping on the bull and riding it so that you become empowered, which I want to congratulate you for, because it's one of the things that we want people to take back their power from what they think are inconsequential decisions. But when you add the hundreds of thousands of them that we've been doing over our life, it becomes significant. And there's a friend of mine that I was talking to last week, and he said, this whole thing is, for some people being alone is hell, and for a monk it's heaven. And it sounds like, you're not the monk quality, which we all knew, but the idea that we get to spend time alone and decide who we want to be and who we want to how we want to show forward. And I love what you said about, I'm not in a hurry to have this get over. I want to take advantage of each moment as it unfolds. Is that a correct interpretation?
Completely. And I am absolutely riding the bull, because I am clear with any kind of emotion or situation, there is no around. That's avoidance, right? It's just going to come up again to be healed. It's only through. So I am going through the eye of the needle, and I don't just sit back. So you understand my full day. So now I have a practice every morning. I'm loving this practice. I was always go to the gym, there is no gym right now. And every single day I'm doing a 1 to 2 hour yoga practice. My body is so thanking me. My body is expressing gratitude to me for showing up. I also am doing an absolute committed meditation practice, a gratitude practice. I affirm every day that I'm unlimited, that I manifest perfectly. I have intentions that I'm putting out into the world, like really clear. And I have had some healing of the unforgivable. So in the midst of all of this, I have two exes, one extremely recent and one, from several years ago. And they're both playing a huge part in my life right now. And I'm sitting back and watching how the universe has given me these two individuals. And we're having enormous healing and kinship together. So there's so much. And then the other piece I'll just say that's interesting is, because I am alone, but with a dog, I have to be mindful of this sensitive, aware creature named Shelby, because she's going through it too. Somebody who's very extroverted and wants to run up to other dogs and people and like social distancing, 6 feet apart. And she's, after, almost 2 months, she's like, what is up? I'm sad. So I have to be mindful to take toys and figure out ways we could play catch. And when she's joyful, I'm joyful. I set up little treasure hunts for her with turkey bacon around the house and, try to make it fun for her, which brings joy to me. So it's full. And my choices are not, they're not static. like I'm constantly, as new pieces are received by me, and it just feels like a profoundly spiritual time, I am in flow with. So I know, okay, this is the next thing incumbent on me to do or be. And I incorporate that.
I want to ask, thank you. That's great. And I love you taking care of Shelby. And I think that I actually believe it's true for everyone that they're in the perfect circumstance for them to move into where they are next. And I think what you're describing is exactly perfect for you, as the one that I'm in is perfect for me and everyone listening. And then it's up to us to choose to take advantage of it, as you clearly are doing. But I want to ask, because one of the results and one of the big things that we're talking about is personal empowerment, but also, funnily enough, connectivity. But it's not just connectivity to other people, it's connectivity to everything within us, but also our relationship to whatever is going on outside of us. So as you're clearing and as you're moving forward and as this grief is being cleared and are you feeling, how is that, what are you noticing now that we're pointing it out in terms of empowerment and relationships? What are you noticing that's new and different today than, say, 3 weeks ago or a month ago?
A lot of people kicks up a lot of stuff. And I think it's really beautiful to recognize what I can control that I do, what I put in my mouth, I can control. And the joke is out there that people have been saying, oh my God, I'm getting fat and I'm drinking too much and I'm watching too much TV and I'm eating too much. I've actually lost 17 pounds,
Wow.
Yeah, it's wonderful for me. And I'm just really following like a food plan that feels amazing to me and is so nurturing. What I can control is what I do to my body as far as exercise and walking and yoga goes and meditation. What I can control is that I'm connecting with people like you, or frankly, let me plug something you have, David, which is this beautiful, let me know if the name is right, this video you have online called Peace and Harmony, which is, by the way, playing in my background right now.
Oh, cool.
It's profound. I don't even get it. That's fine. I don't need to understand nothing. All I know is I turn it on, I'm like, what? It's good. I can use beautiful tools that are readily available and can switch things up for me. So the things we have control over and what we think, instead of reacting, I really meant it when I said the universe has my back. Like if I lead through my life with that, it's prevalent. And I guess the last piece, because I do visibility out into the world, is how I've shown up for my tribe and for people in a public way. And I've really been very, like, if it was even possible, I've gone to a whole new level of authenticity to the point, right?
Yeah, that's the empowerment that we're talking about. I'm sorry, continue, but this whole idea of a whole new level of authenticity from someone who previously was authentic. This whole new level is that manifestation of that empowerment that we're talking about. So please continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, it's amazing to show up for people and say, it's interesting. I was literally set to start some very profound bioenergetic medicine classes, to become certified, to learn how to use my hands a little better, some shaman. I'm really headed to shaman, and some shaman workshops and all sorts of stuff. And then boom, this hit. And everything got kicked, right? To further. And I went, wow, that's really interesting.
Okay, go ahead. It froze up for a sec, but I think we're okay.
If that is so, and everything's perfect, then maybe the idea is, Dorothy, you've always had it inside of you all along, right? Isn't that what they said to Dorothy when she wanted to go home?
Yeah.
The good witch said, but darling, you've always had it inside of you all along. And she has this huge recognition, clicking her red, beautiful shoes 3 times. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. And her intention is fulfilled. And I think I've had many, many, many lifetimes as a priestess and as a shaman. And maybe it was time for me to dig in and say authentically out into the world, here I am, let the healing work begin. So I've been working with people like that in groups, and I have been showing up and pulling cards and talking things. I have been talking about all the amazing ways we can fill space and going in and out of really organic feelings. I actually cried during a Facebook Live that many people were on, and people have never seen me cry. And in fact, it really rather surprised them up. And there was a moment where I had to say, I'm sorry, I didn't expect this, but here we are. What are we going to do with it? Let's be with this together, because it's energy, right? Emotions are just energy. It's going to transmute in a minute. And we were laughing 5 minutes later, and it was just perfect. And I think that connection for people right now is really meaningful. I know it was for me to pull back the curtain and just go, you don't need to fix me. You don't need to change me. Please don't feel sorry for me. And thank you, God, nobody did. They were just riding it right there with me. And it gave people all this permission too. So there are so many more ways, even like the conversation you and I are having right now, it wouldn't have happened 3 weeks ago. This is just a whole new way of being, where we're stripped of everything. And it's good.
It is good. And I think one of the things that has been there's some information that I have that might be a little personal, and I can do it after the call, or we could do it right now. What are you getting?
How deeply personal are we talking?
It's significant, but if you don't want it, I can always cut it out of the podcast.
Okay, go.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want to point out is this freedom. When you talk about all the clearing and noticing the reactions going on that you say have been going on since we've been inside, that you're getting to notice how you respond or you react, and what's going on is those are being let go of is judgment. We're now recognizing that I don't need to take whatever mental noise, whatever was going on before when I went in situations. I'm realizing now I don't really need to use my energy to do that anymore. I can just look at something and see it clearly for what it is. And then I can choose that, yes, I want to do something with it, or no, I don't want it. And this is what you're talking about, the people who are talking about gaining weight. Well, it's your choice. Whether you sit around and eat or whether you do yoga for an hour or two a day, everyone has a choice, and they're being presented with, they're their own responsibility, whether they like it or not. Even politically, one of the things that, and I don't want to spend a lot of time with this, but one of the things that keeps coming up is leadership or lack thereof. And what is needed in the world, and I said, I think this whole thing is absolutely brilliant, because I didn't know. It was a great relief, and I think it's absolutely brilliant, because we're so used to saying, you tell me what to do. Go to Consumer Reports. You tell me what car to buy, what toaster to buy. I look at TV. I read the reviews on Amazon. You tell me what to buy. I'm not capable of making a decision on my own. And we expect, whether it's governments or the shopkeepers or everything in between, the doctors or whatever, to tell us what to do. And now we're in a position where it's me and me alone. That's it. And a lot of people I think a lot more people are doing the kind of thing that you're doing than we're hearing about. And I think there are some people who are joking about getting fat. And to be honest, I think a lot of people who are saying those jokes aren't getting fat. I think they're actually doing things to strengthen themselves. I think that's coming along. So I think that that's very exciting about this letting go of judgment. And I think that's making a big difference, because when you let go of you're judging people, you stop seeing people as judging you, and that lets you show up freer. Now, I also think energetically things are going on, but this is the part that might be a little personal. You mentioned about many lives as a shaman or whatever. You're not taking into account the more significant what you do between lives. And when you look at who you are, and we're talking about your hair changing and stuff, you don't look like this. This is a huge being, and this is true for pretty much everybody listening to this, and this is true for a lot of the people that we know together. We're talking about huge beings who have pretended to be small, who have fit themselves in a 4, 5, 6 foot body of 100 and X pounds, and that's a toe of who they are, of the power, of the goodness, of the efficacy of what they can bring to the table. And one of the things and so I really want to notice you. I want you to recognize that I'm very clear who you are, and your coming here was a sacrifice, as it was for the people, pretty much everybody who's listening. And a great deal has transpired to benefit billions, and way more than just the population of the planet, way more than the population of the planet, including all the animals and insects and everything. It's bigger than that, what's shifting right now. And so, however many thousands or millions of people who came to help this shift, all are so appreciated. All are doing it in the name of wholeness, in the name of the divine that they adore and cherish and want to serve. And I think it's good for you to allow yourself to breathe fully who you truly are when you're not in this form, because you and all the people listening are way bigger than you've ever seen yourself, and allow yourself to step forward and express that confidently in who you are now. But I want to address one other little thing, and then I'm going to talk back to you. I should let you say something. It's your interview, but I want to say this.
No, I'm thank you. I'm really enjoying what you're saying. And I just want to confirm, I have many, many, many very gifted friends. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And yeah, I have some profound channels, psychic, medium, beautiful people. And they have all said, Debbie, this time is about you stepping into your power. It's like, it's not even, that word is so strange, isn't it, that we use stepping, because that's actually making it sound like it is not currently here. And that's BS. It is completely who I am, you are, we are. The inhabiting, if you will, if it almost like you're in a jar or some kind of light bubble, you're fully inhabiting that. And so I really hear that. That is my call of the wild right now.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. And I'm so glad. And I know you've had a good support group for most of your life. So that's excellent. One more thing is you're never alone.
Right.
And it'll be good for you to start noticing that in this time, when there aren't other physical people distracting you from noticing.
So, David, it is like, that was the first thing when this coronavirus hit. I was like, oh God, you are laughing so hard. Goddess, you're laughing so hard because you've been trying to get my attention. You've been saying, please slow down, please slow down, please slow down. And I was off with my little cape, my superpower cape. And finally they're like, well, we tried. Let's just close out the world right now and hang out for a spell. Oh my word, how powerful for all of us.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to address is this allowing of yourself to be present. One of the things that's new is we're now in a world where it's safe to, because that hasn't been the case for our whole life. So this, whether we use the term stepping into or allowing or showing up, or what was the term you used?
Yeah, I did say stepping into, and then I'm not in love with that by any means, but yes, fully inhabiting.
That's it. The fully inhabiting. I think that's excellent, but we can do that now because it's safe to. And not only is it safe to, it's needed to. All of the little street lights, which were, flickering and maybe a flame the size of a thumb, now need to be radiating to a flame the size of the sun. And you're one of them. Most of your tribe is one of them. Some of them are significantly huger than you, Many of them are not. Doesn't matter. It's not a contest. It's not an ego thing. We're all on the same team. We're all here to be helping this transition to heaven on earth, or whatever we want to call it. And we're so excited that you're here. I'm so glad that you're noticing the empowering. I'm so glad that you're noticing that you can now decide what's worthy of your attention, what's worthy of your judgment. What other big shifts have you been noticing? You're playing with your dog more purposefully.
I'm trying to think I'll have to say I decluttered my entire place, and that may seem frivolous to some people, but I strongly believe in the energetics of things, and what I surround myself with impacts me. And I've always been a fairly clean person, but this has taken it to a whole new level of what can I actually release out into the world. And, I have, let's say, 75 CDs. Why do I have 75 CDs? Why do I cart it from place to place that I live? It's just energetic clutter. So I'm literally going through and enjoying all this beautiful music, including a lot of Chinese healing music. But I'm saying, what if I could get it to 15 or less? I've been doing that with my closet. I've been doing that with everything around me. How can I release, and just retain what is truly meaningful and necessary in my life right now? And that feels really important, actually. And it makes a big difference when I come out into my place every day, what it feels like, how I operate in it, how easy it is to find things and know where everything. So I like that. I have several boxes I can't take to Goodwill or wherever they're going to end up, but I am gathering things in boxes right now, and it's marvelous.
Do you find that as you're clearing things out, I know there's the mental clarity that comes, and again, there's an empowerment quality about it, but do you feel freer?
So much freer. I won a book award. I won several book awards when I wrote my books many years ago. And some of the book awards put you in another tier after you won the award for, let's say, best self-improvement book. And then they had another tier where you got to win prizes from sponsors, like really good things, like being interviewed on a prevalent talk show on TV kind of thing, which is actually what I wanted, but didn't win. But what I did win was this professional woman who works with celebrities to come out to my place and go through my closet and declutter. I'm going to be very honest. I sort of had an eye roll like, oh, I won this. What am I going to do with this? And this woman came and spent an entire day going through all my stuff. Throw out, recycle, keep. And when she was done, my life completely changed. I will never make a judgment, if you will, about something like that again, because it taught me profoundly how enormous that is. Everything is energy. We know this. So even things contain energy. And if we surround ourselves with a ton of things and we're just carting it forward and forward, it's like having garbage on our backs. Whereas when I'm just releasing and only retaining what is necessary for right now, there is an incredible freedom and a letting go and a being able to receive a lot more energy and spaciousness.
There are so many things that we weren't ever taught. And because it was a different time in the world, it doesn't matter. And we don't have any resentment, and everybody's forgiven, and we wish well for everybody involved. But there are a lot of freedoms that are showing up that are more important freedoms than, and I hate to say it this way, but the Constitution, which is a lot of important things about human rights and civil rights and how we should interact with each other. But there's an internal freedom that it sounds like you're finally giving yourself, whether it's giving yourself permission or, riding the bull or whatever it is. It sounds like that and I know you've done this your whole life, but it sounds like you've up-leveled like about 5 levels in terms of really deciding to become fully you. No excuses, no hesitation, just here I am. Does that resonate with you? Does that feel like what you're becoming now?
Yeah, I think anytime we go through a fire, right, it burns off what is no longer needed and what's left, right, from coal to a diamond. There's a refinement that happens. And without a doubt, I feel that very much like being strained through some kind of a cheesecloth. So when I come out, it's going to be like the cream. Um, yeah, I don't think any of us go through a difficult time or a profound change like this without, if we're open to it, having magnificent changes. Even
So
the way I'm right now feels very different. How
I'm sorry, the way you're,
serving right now, how I'm showing up for people and what I'm offering people and things, that's really changed like a lot.
so we've talked about a whole bunch of things that you're doing during this process. Can you give the listeners any tips that you find have helped you address some of the things or make the changes more easily or more comfortably, or giving you the courage to ride through it? What maybe give me a handful of five, handful three, whatever tips that you find as you're going through this, whether it's mental techniques or reading something or eating some, what is it that helps you make these transitions in yourself and allow yourself to do them in the smoothest or fastest or whatever way serves you the best?
There's no, I'll start out with, there's no such thing as resistance because, and there's no such thing as going back to normal. There is no normal. We're creating something brand new, so enjoy it. And it is a great notice to say, how could this be perfect? Of course it's perfect because it's happening. It's what we have all co-created. So this is exactly what was necessary. So enjoy it, if you will. Be in it, if you will. I would say the next thing is to really notice in environments that feel out of control, that, you know, financially, job-wise, being separated from people you love, whatever is coming up for you, then instead put your attention on what can you control. The next thing is, during a time when you may feel somewhat out of control, financially, career-wise, being separated from people that you miss, you know, activities that maybe you love and you're being told you can't do right now, to take that same energy with a lot of acceptance, which is the answer to all my prayers for today, and take that and not control things, but be mindful about what is available to you, because there is great abundance right now about what amazing foods we can eat, what amazing movement we can do. And I just want to say, this is what comes up with that is, you know, people are making these beautiful offerings right now, like the yoga I talked about that I'm doing every day. There are so many ways for us to do things that we hadn't done before. One of the things you can do is find ways to connect in spite of the illusion of not connecting. You know, David referenced we're not alone, which of course is very true. And another level of not being alone, for instance, I've got an entire drawer full of beautiful stationery and cards. You know, we could take once a week or twice a week and just write to somebody, just a gratitude that when they receive in the mail, wherever they are in the country or world, will completely change their entire day. Now we can have that kind of impact to make the calls, the Zooms, those kind of connections, you know, really. I did one day, I had little cards that said, keep smiling. And I wrote on the back, thank you for being such an amazing neighbor. Thank you for looking out for me. Thank you for the energy you bring every time I see you. And I have a couple of neighbors who are so kind to me, and I left them at their door, and one I left with a magazine because I knew she was kind of not feeling so well. And it was so sweet. And then when my neighbors wrote back to me little cards, and that was really meaningful. I will say the things that you ingest as far as information, for me, I go to the ancients. That works for me. I would love to read something before I get to the final one, because I am into shamanism, and that is very meaningful to me in my life. And for those of you who know who Dr. Alberto Villoldo is, this is somebody who heads up the Four Winds Society, and he put something out, and made a copy of it. Every time he writes something, it's quite beautiful. And it says it's a time to be fearless and faithful to Mother Earth. We're living in exceptional times, the first time our humanity has been stopped in its tracks in 100 years. And many indigenous prophecies speak of this as a period of great transformation. The Inca call it the Pachacuti, a chaotic time when a world out of kilter is restored to balance and serenity. They describe a culling of humanity, which is sadly happening today as many of us lose loved ones. Yet every crisis brings with it a marvelous opportunities. Ours is to awaken our inner shaman, our true wisdom and power, so that we can become part of a new solution. We can help those who are in great need and use our practice and prayers to find new ways to develop sustainable business and medicine as we deal with worldwide health and economic problems. We can only accomplish this from a place of fearlessness, resetting our fight, flight, or freeze reflex. And I'll just skip ahead, and it says, today we have an invitation to learn how to tend our gardens newly, to make a sacred commitment to Mother Earth as her stewards. And then Mother Earth will recognize us as Earth keepers and look after us. Our mother wants us to be well. But if we remain predators disconnected from her, we will get sick, for humanity is a parasite that is killing its host. We are committing a kind of matricide unheard of in other species. Remember that for the shaman, there is no difference between being killed by a microbe and being killed by a jaguar. As shamans, we know that we have to be in right relationship with microbes and with jaguars. Otherwise, they will both be looking at us as lunch. As you awaken your inner shaman and take on the stewardship of all life supports you in miraculous ways.
Lovely.
And isn't that gorgeous and
It's
so
great.
meaningful? And I last piece of what people can do, my suggestion of the steps is how you show up to serve others. I know this is so important as I'm saying this, but it's so important how we're showing up, because we all have these amazing gifts and we've been very used to in business or as entrepreneurs them out. And I've always made fun of those paradigms because we've always had these paradigms we've tried to fit into how we do things. And, you know, if other people are doing steps 1, 2, 3, surely we must. And that's gone right now. So my high recommendation is, where are your gifts and how can you disseminate in a way that people can receive and benefit? For instance, of the things that I do, for me right now as a book coach, people to write a book, oh my God, people are bored out of their gourds, right? People are sitting there on top of all this creativity, and it is time to stand for their greatness. It's time for them to get their message out in the world. So I've put together 2 ways that people can do this and harness this time. So in 6 months, when they turn around, they can say, wow, look what I produced at this time. For people who want to write a book, I've got a membership, and everything is now. This is not an old thing I brought back up. This is now with price points that 5 months ago, David, would have been ridiculous. I would have said, I'm never going to do something for that price. I'm worth so much more. But I'm doing it now because it is my gift to serve people and invite them to a membership. So for those who would like to write a book, and this is speaking and your belly is like, yay, go to DebbiDachinger.com/visiblevisionaries. And you can book writing membership. It's ongoing and it's live with me. And I'm also putting out separate anthology book, and it's called The Ultimate, M-U-T-T, The Ultimate Anthology Book for Dog Lovers. But it's spelled with the word mutt, as in mutts, And so, play on words, but it's sort of like if you're not covered in dog hair, you know, your life is not awesome. I'm a big person and I'm a big supporter of all animal rights and beyond. And so I wanted to do this because it's a joy-filled project. Again, I took a price point that I have done in the past, not today. So I'm inviting in people the chapters are going. And so that those who want to register know that the opportunity is filled once the chapters are taken. But if you would like to write a chapter, or if you don't want to write and you'd prefer to be interviewed, I will transcribe it for you. It's a huge package I'm offering, including editing and book cover and formatting and Kindle ebook. Everything's done for you, including a guaranteed international best-selling launch. And that's at debbid.net/anthology, debbid.net/anthology. So I'm creating these opportunities to serve. So people who say, I've wanted to write, I wanted to have that experience, whether it's a chapter or a full book, let me in. Let's do this. Let's use this time. So you put something that you feel magnificent about out into the world and you're proud of, that you created and that you are offering as a gift to all of us.
That's fabulous. I know when you talk about service and you're talking about showing up, you're talking about showing up to help, to help others. I really want to expand that a little bit. Not everyone is here to help people. And you brought that up when you talk about the thing with the dogs and the pets. A lot of the people who are here are to help different aspects of life on Earth. So maybe someone's here to protect the plants. Maybe someone's here to help clean up the oceans. Whatever it is that you're called to do with that, Debbie's calling that inner shaman, whatever those inner gifts are, we fully encourage you and connect with people who can help you in whatever way you're here to attend to. If you're the mountain person, then you're going to clean up the mountains or replant trees on the mountains, whatever it is. Best of luck. You have our full support. I really want to thank you, Debbie. I think this has been a great joy for me. I would have loved it even if it wasn't a podcast, that we were just chatting. I so appreciate you and your time. I want to state again, it's debbidachinger.com/visible visionaries for the program that you were talking about. One more sentence about what that's for.
And that is specifically for people who want to write a book. You've never written before and you don't even know where to start. Maybe you've started and never finished, or maybe you've written, you just like some guidance to write a page turner book. But this is what I do in the world, and I am offering it now at this time to help people to literally get onto paper that which they've always dreamed, whether it's a story or a message.
Or an audiobook, if not paper, all good. And then for those who want to be involved in an international bestseller, to write a chapter on your dog anthology, and that is debbid.net/anthology. And thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you. It's always a great delight when I get to see you at events, which is not going on right now, but I'm sure we'll talk soon. And just thank you so much. This has been such a thrill and an honor for me. So I appreciate it so very much.
Me as well. Thanks, David.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to another helpful, fun, and life-changing episode of Here We Come to Save the Day with David Adelson. To access the show notes and additional resources, go to herewecometosavetheday.com. If you've enjoyed the show and find it helpful and fun, please leave us a review and share with a friend. Tell us issues troubling you or questions you have. We're here to help you. That's what Here We Come to Save the Day is all about. Till next time.